skeletal remains are discovered at the site of a pirate shipwreck. The ship, the Widow. Whose pirate ship? Black Sam Bellamy, who was never seen again after a violent storm in 1717. It's the early 1700s, and the golden age of piracy roars across the Caribbean and the Atlantic like a tempest. The sea is a wild frontier where kings have no reach, and cannon smoke writes new legends into the wind. Among these legends rises a man who would not just steal treasure, but ships and hearts, and has a legacy that still resonates across the waves till today. His name, Sam Bellamy. Born in Devon, England in 1689, Samuel Bellamy was not bred for infamy. He was a sailor's son, a boy with salt in his veins, who joined the Royal Navy in his youth. But what set Bellamy apart wasn't just his skill at sea. It was his mind. He learned, he read, and he also dreamed. Nicknamed Black Sam because he decided not to wear the fashionable powdered wig of the time, instead he liked to tie back his long black hair with a simple hair tie. Good choice. Bellamy left England and sailed to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, not in search of gold, but apparently to hook up with some relatives. And it was here where Sam found love. Yes, love. And that came in the form of a certain Goody Hallett, or as she is more commonly known as Maria. A young woman of local fame and local scandal. In fact, some refer to her as the Witch of Wellfleet. Wellfleet being a small town in Cape Cod. Bellamy, then poor and without title, was called back to serve at sea, so he made a vow. He would return to Maria, not just with riches, but with glory. And thus, Bellamy turned to the most dangerous career of the day, piracy. He set off to join the hunt for the sunken treasure of a Spanish fleet wrecked off the coast of Florida. But like many men who chase gold, he found disappointment. But then, from disappointment, came a great opportunity. He joined the crew of the pirate Benjamin Hornigold. Oh yeah, the very same Hornigold who mentored a particular young man by the name of Blackbeard. Bellamy embraced his new lifestyle. Oh, and he went all out to look the part, all right. Opting for expensive and flashy clothes and carrying 4 dueling pistols in his sash. Oh yeah, this guy had swagger. By 1717, the crew had tired of Hornigold's reluctance to attack English ships. Bellamy, charming and bold, was thus elected captain. Yes, elected. This was democracy in action, something that was quite radical for the time. And he quickly proved himself a genius at sea. His strategy was to use 2 ships when attacking. A large ship would be heavily armed, and a smaller one would come along to block and capture the target. And so, under his command, the crew captured over 50 ships in a matter of months. And his greatest prize? The Widow Galley, a sleek, fast slave ship loaded with gold, ivory, and precious goods. And Bellamy took her without firing a single shot. And instead of destroying the captured crew, he gave them food, drink, and if they wished, a chance to join his merry band. Bellamy was no bloodthirsty tyrant, and in making these captured African slaves his own shipmates, he was actually practicing an approach of ethnic diversity that was totally beyond 18th century comprehension. He quickly became known as the Robin Hood of the sea, and Bellamy once told a captured merchant, "I scorn to do anyone a mischief when it is not for my advantage. I am a free prince, and I have as much authority to make war on the whole world as he who has 100 sail of ships at sea." And that was Bellamy's creed. Freedom over tyranny. Equality over monarchy. He didn't just steal gold. He stole the very idea of power from kings and handed it to the common man, if only for a fleeting moment. But just as his legend grew, fate began to twist the knife. In April 1717, Bellamy was sailing the Widder back towards Cape Cod. Some say it was to find his love, Maria Hallett. But the sea. Yeah, the sea is very rarely loyal. Off the coast of Cape Cod, a nor'easter, a savage spring storm, came roaring down. The Widder, heavy with loot and crew, struck a sandbar and was torn apart by waves taller than houses. 142 men died, and Bellamy presumably one of them, as he was never seen again. The Widder took her secrets to the ocean floor. Until 260 years later, in 1984, an underwater explorer by the name of Barry Clifford, with the aid of an authentic map dating back to 1717, essentially a genuine pirate treasure map, finally discovered the wreck. Amazingly, the galley was found in shallow water, 14 feet of water, and 5 feet of sand. Over the years, Clifford has pulled cannons, coins, pistols from the site, and the Widder remains the only fully authenticated Golden Age pirate shipwreck ever found. And then, in 2021, an incredible twist to the amazing story of Black Sam Bellamy. The remains of 6 skeletons encased in concretion was discovered amidst the wreck. Clifford, having previously found Bellamy's DNA through a bloodline descendant, then put in motion the start of a long process of identification. So, is the fate of Black Sam Bellamy finally solved? Well, the hope is that once the painstaking process of removing the bones from the concretion is completed, we might have, finally, an answer. Black Sam was certainly a rogue, and by all accounts he was also a romantic. He was a man who lived faster than time allowed. A man who chased love and liberty into the storm. And someone whose legacy survived not because he ruled long and bloodthirsty, but because he lived boldly. He was anti-establishment, he opposed the monarchy, and he was a supporter of diversity. In other words, Black Sam Bellamy was the original rock and roll star. Unlike many pirates of his age, Bellamy didn't leave behind a string of massacres. He left behind a code, an idea that even outlaws could have honor, that even in chaos there could be rules, that even a pirate could love. And perhaps that's why we still talk about him today. Not because he was cruel, not because he was feared, but because in some storm-lit corner of our hearts, we still want to believe in the kind of pirate who didn't just sail for gold, but sailed for freedom.